Sri Lanka are 3 for 44 after Australia stopped the count, declaring on 6 for 654. It was a day for Usman's highest test score, 232, threw it away. It was a debut 100 for Josh Inglis is his name, Greg's brother. And it was a clinic with the ball and some bloody sharp grabs. And that's, by the way, before you get to what's happening at the MCG, don't let anybody get in the way of this being a bloody great day for Australian cricket. And you know what? They all feel like good days. Don't let anyone get in the way of this being a bloody great time. Pezza, this is utter domination. And yeah, okay, it's a bit boring sometimes. It's just fucking awesome. This is awesome. Thoughts?
This is bullying writ large. And it's the sort of foot-on-throat stuff we used to see as children. It's the sort of foot-on-throat stuff that would never happen under Cummins. And there will be people who would argue, Higgos, that they have balanced and wise lives. They might be healthy, wealthy, and wise, who look upon this and say, this is sad. What we're seeing is sad. And in a way, they're right. But can they shut the fuck up just for like a bit? You know, because right now there are children or, you know, young adults who watch this show and listen to us wax lyrical about when Steve Waugh used to do this with spikes on the throats of fancied opposition. And we actually take like a depth of like DNA driven safety out of that. These are times to savor. It's our highest ever test score in Asia. I'm bathing at the trough. Sometimes you don't have to be a Rodin's thinker, you know, like custodian of the game. Sometimes you just eye off the smorgasbord, black out, and go to work. You know, think about Khawaja telling us earlier this season how cooked the batting's been for the last 5 or 6 years. This is a fuck you to the double lack of Kookaburra. Yep. You know, they've been hibernating, the batters, and now they're hungry. I'm watching the game. People can have their views about the like unfamiliarity of the flashback to the studio and Copeland and Blewett saying what they're saying, but I'm hearing them say, and when we go to the MCG, we're pumping England too. And if I'm not allowed to enjoy that, then fuck, what's the point? You know what I mean? What is the point? I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is so good that punters had one look at this and gone, I've had enough after day one. I'm out of here. It's done. I'm you know, we're at the point where like we've had a century on debut today, and that's only one of many records. You know, it's only one of many things we're bathing at the trough in. I'm looking at Nathan Sweeney, poor bastard, looking at this going like, hang on, so let me get this right. I had to face Bumrah, and Inglis comes in to face Endeavour Hills. You know? That's the day that we've had.
It's also a day to thank Smith Optics Australia for getting behind TGC. Use the code FAST for 25% off your order at smithopticsaustralia.com. Pezza, it was such a hark back to the ugly and nasty and glorious fun times of blonde tips, SMP skate belts, globe shoes, skate parks, Sundays on a Tuesday afternoon, and rolling blokes for a lighter and 50 cents at Westfield. Okay, that's what this was. It was a hark back to my year 9. Okay, I'll pay you back, I promise. This was punishing. It was glorious. I learnt that they've got a guy who must be 60 batting at 4.
Yeah, Angelo Matthews is playing apparently.
When he can make it to the middle on time, by the way. This was sumptuous. I'm getting English people online talking about stat padding. This is a chef's kiss. It's perfect. This is perfect. Yeah. I'm having a great time. And also, George Bailey's a fucking disgrace.
He's a disgrace. Well, I mean, what Bailey's done is a disgrace.
He's too close to the players.
That's clear. What he's done to the players, he's too close to the players and what he wears and where he sits, and his decisions in general are disgraceful.
It's ugly. It's ugly, Pezza. It's ugly.
It's getting really ugly, and something has to be done. Sam, who he's definitely gone back to being Constance. But yeah, I mean, yeah. What else? Like Russell Arnold spending most of his commentary just talking to Simon Kadich about playing Sydney grade cricket. Saying that Steve Smith only had one shot when he played against him. He's like, he bowled leg spin and he could only play a square cut. Kadich just going, yes, and he's done pretty well since then.
Yeah. Also, all Sri Lankan commentators basically just spending the entire afternoon calling him Joss English. That was, yeah.
Well, let's break it down then. So I think the first thing to talk about, I just had it on a point just saying manhandling, but I think we've dealt with that, really. It's just across all skills, disciplines, on field, off, everything. And, it's a philosophical choice over whether to be sad about that, which is probably an indicator of health, or whether to bathe at a trough. And we choose here to bathe at a trough. That's it. So the second point is run feast. So I don't know where you want to start, because Smith got 141, got out. Khawaja got 232. Inglis hit 102 on debut. Carey looked busy. So I don't know. I don't know what you want. Where you need to go with that. Where you want to focus. We talked about Smith and Uzi a bit yesterday.
Well, once again, I want to start by saying how big is Bo Webster, because when he came in, it felt like it was a character that I'd created in 2K, in NBA 2K, where he was a 7'3" point guard that could run a 10-second 100. He was dishing dimes. He was dunking. He could shoot the three. It was a perfect creature. He was a perfect being. Now today's not about him at all, but it kind of is when obviously Carey batted 6, and Slug came in at 7, but it's just a guy that's that big and just comes in. I just thought it was funny.
It's museum stuff. It's choose your own adventure. The numbers that they're racking up. It's my eyes are spinning like a Queen of the Nile feature, and I'm in a museum, full of artifacts stolen in London, and there's a Bo Webster. Oh, look at that! I'll put that together in NBA 2K. You've got to start making your own fun with this stuff,
Yeah, that's right. I thought Marnus was very unlucky to be playing the game because his 20 looked the most difficult of any of the Australian batters anyway. But yeah, I mean, Travis had missed out on a 300 by lunch, it seems. When a team bowls 160 overs or whatever they bowled Sri Lanka, there was just a lack of energy, generally speaking. But I also just really enjoyed just the cherry on top with the wicketkeeper trying to throw the stumps down at the bowler's end, and missed by 3 meters each time and just gave away a bye. It would have been out.
Would have been out, and would have had a Sammy spirit of cricket element to it, which I really hope Australia wouldn't have gone for. And also looked like indoor cricket as well. Like the wicketkeeper picking it up, like that footage that Mark Waugh has from when he's 17.
Yeah.
Not the most debauched thing he did in that indoor centre either, by the way.
That was in the era when they called his brother Steve or Schooners. That was his nickname, his Schooners.
Smith's unders at 140 there. He'll be gutted. Obviously hate to be a hazelnut tonight. I think he actually said, I read Tom Deason's article saying that because he's brought up his 10,000th, he's gonna have a brownie and some vanilla ice cream. Wait, the amount of happiness and certitude and safety that brings our nation.
It wasn't that long ago where you would pour chocolate syrup over a prostitute and enjoy it that way,
I was going to say.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, like talking about the Steve Waugh era, the amount of chocolate syrup over a prostitute's breasts. Now they just have a... Now that's an information exchange, by the way. It's not a glorification. It's literally
just the way it was. That's a museum. That's museum stuff. That's by website. I'm making him a 2K.
Mate, we're two guys wandering through a museum of our own fucked up imagination.
but he's going to go back to his hotel and have a couple of chalky bites.
Well, that was the fucking problem with sandpaper, really. Used to be syrup and everything. Anyway, Uzi made 232, so he threw away 300 or 400, frankly. You know, what do you say? It was at a good clip. It was, broom and reverse broom. There was a magnum opus opportunity for him. This will be it. That'll be his magnum opus. That'll be the number next to his name. I would have thought, and it's a good number. You're happy with that. It's another installment to this like substantial second act to his career, and it's another example of the sliding doors fragility of international cricket, where in like 2019 he was unwanted and burnt out, and what we might have missed, you know, had he not grabbed that sliver of an opportunity in the COVID Ashes, which unfortunately was since voided. But yeah, like it isn't it amazing? Like it was a really good shout around about that time that like Uzi's time was done, and it just goes to show when certain people don't like you. I'm not even referring. People think that's a JL thing. It's more just a vibe thing generally in the system. It's just the environment isn't wanting him, and then someone gets him back in, and we get this second act of like where he gets to basically, you know, fill out the test career that we knew he could have. So
it's getting up to 6,000 test runs now. I think it's like 5,800, something like that. I was looking at it last night, so, and it hadn't included the 230. So it began up to 6,000 test runs, averaging 45. Said yesterday, like it's averaging over 50 now, opening the batting. I mean, that's fucking, especially like what he's had to open the batting on the last couple of years anyway in Australia. Like that's pretty bloody good. It's like whatever he does finish on, it's about half of what it could have been. But you know, that's also the mystery of, you know, the lost years.
Well said. Okay, so Ingo, really. I mean, for me, for me, this is the story of the day. So kicking off by saying again, Bailey's a disgrace.
He's a disgrace.
But yeah, the new toy walks out, first ball boundary. He's given the Chewy a working over. Note to the commentators. The confidence of like a sort of a lightweight brawler, and he just gets straight into his work. The commentators are also straight into the work of calling him Josh English, which does roll off the tongue better, unfortunately for Josh. It's a 90-ball ton. It's perfectly tempoed. I thought he was in most danger on 87 when Khawaja was dismissed and Alex Carey came out and started whispering to him. You know, I just whispered to him. You know, well, I don't know, mate. Anyway, and then we get the 100, we get the celebration, we get mum and dad, whose names we now know as Martin and Sarah. That's a big leap for the brand. Martin giving it large, and again, just to finish off, Bailey's a disgrace.
A touching tribute to his from his dad to Elon Musk's "My Heart Goes Out to You" for the celebration. I also get some great. There was some great stuff on Twitter as well, with photos of him getting an award from the Kaiser Chiefs in like 2008. I saw that. Our friend Bharat actually said that he noticed that Sam Constas was the first one over to the family to give his mum a big hug. So can only deduce there that Constas is MILF hunting. That's the first thing you think of, isn't it, when you say that? So that's all you can think. So you know he's playing his part. They feel so bad. They now start to feel so bad for McSweeney that they put him in gully because that's just where all the best catches are in Australia. He does his part. But no, in all seriousness, Inglis was like, he was so proactive and it was busy. I suppose it's a bit of a synonym, but it was like his footwork was so impressive. You know, like he was playing shots where his back leg ended up behind the stumps, like using the crease masterfully. Like the pace of the Sri Lankan spinners dropped considerably throughout the innings. I suppose that happens when you bowl 150 overs, but it was like it was constantly around like the low 80s and sort of mid 70 Ks an hour, which felt super slow. Then you saw how quickly the Australian spinners bowled as well, sort of to get some energy into the ball. But I mean, Inglis was offside, leg side, the reverse sweeps, a couple of switch hits down the ground. It was actually such a good innings. I actually, it made me think that leaving Hanscom out was not a mistake. Not that I really thought that it was necessarily, but that was very much that was an innings I don't think I've seen Hanscom play before. Now Hanscom has had to play a much tougher decks. Let's be right about that in recent years in the subcontinent. But this was like the new wave of batters coming through white ball cricket who were proactive at the crease, and to score a Test 100 in 90 balls, whatever the circumstances come in, it's just amazing. And it's just another example where Bailey must be sacked. Unfortunately, it's a disgrace. And if you find yourself getting behind this team because of what they've achieved and the decisions that are being made on and off the field, well, you're a fucking idiot, because this isn't good enough, in my opinion.
Well, wake up,
wake up,
sort of
sheeple.
But mate, well said. And surely part of that is coming into the team like a fully formed player, like having the egolessness or maturity to understand what that game needed at that time, and being able to just bring his own natural game to it, to open up parts of the field, to get over the nerves he would be feeling batting for Australia number 5 in an unfamiliar role as a pure batter. That's also testament to, like, I can't remember the last time. It's been a little while since Australia's had a level of strength where they've been able to hold a player back who's probably been ready for a little bit, and comes in fully formed, captain of two white ball teams, has scored hundreds for Australia in international cricket. He'd been the Sheffield Shield's best player at the start of the year, but we probably weren't ready to think of him as that, because he also happens to be a very, very accomplished wicketkeeper as well. And all of that ladders up to him being able to walk in this situation. Admittedly, he's playing in Endeavour Hills twos, but he just has confidence and maturity, and to just take responsibility and just to take it on. And it works. It works beautifully. He doesn't get stuck in himself. He's not absorbed or conscious or anything like that. He's not playing for his career. He's just he's free. And it was it's a brilliant start. And yeah, it's tempting to go, well, where to from here? So you're still just having those numbers on the board. You go, oh, okay, is there a spot for him? But then I realize I'm at a museum and we haven't gone to the Cam Green exhibition yet. I don't know what that is.
That's right.
I'm sorry, don't get me wrong. I'm still stuck in the syrup and prostitutes one. But anyway, so anyway, it's so happy for him. Hell of a start. Obviously, friend of the show. So that's the runs. I don't know. Kerry busy. Kerry does well. Red, I like it. Slugly, I don't need it to get out. I'm upset with it. But and then Kratz hits a few, and we're in the bowling. And it's just Kuhneman gets a pole first up.
Yep.
A couple of interesting comments in the chat that crossed my mind as well.
Long sleeves.
I'd say, is it a kink?
Sort of snaps through the crease, doesn't he? Sort of snaps.
Yeah. There's a hyperextension.
Sort of like Ali G, like sort of doing that a bit,
Yeah. Stark gets Karuna Ratner, 700th international pole. McSweeney juggles, great catch. I can't believe Sri Lanka were close to the WTC final. It's div free.
Yes.
McSweeney drops one. It's an all-timer if he takes it. The camera starts zooming in on Stark's spikes, Kratz's spikes, and Cato's just salivating, saying, look how he's churning it up for Nathan Lyon. No problems, mate. Look at those spikes. Nathan Lyon will be loving that, just churning up the deck. I mean, everything's coming up Australia. Everything's coming up like parochial, aggressive Australia. And it's never happened under Cummins.
well, to be fair, he was wearing pole vaulter spikes. They're the longest spikes I've ever seen, to be fair. There was also one where Angelo Matthews, before he gets caught by a brilliant catch by the bin leader Bat Pad, that's a fucking great harp back to David Burns, Shane Warne, MCG hat-trick stuff from 90, whatever that was. But there's one where Angelo Matthews, like the ball hits the stumps, it fucking smashes the stumps, and like it actually dislodges the bail a bit, but not enough out of the groove for it to fall out of the ground. So it was like it was incredible. But
well,
Nate,
stumps are getting heavy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Bales are getting heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. Nathan Lyon was excellent. I thought Kuhneman bowled a heap of shit, I thought. I mean, a nicer way to say it is like he didn't bowl as well as he would have liked, but he gets the first wicket where Fernando just kicks one off middle and reviews it. What else happened? I thought Todd Murphy looked good again. Looked really good.
I think we just we're at the stage where it's like, are we good or are they shit? Because I like what Murphy looks like. I mean, I'm like, it looks like they've invested a little bit into Australia playing well in Asia. Like this team, they look quite accomplished in these conditions. Like there's nothing. Everybody looks like they've played in it a lot. You know, no one's looking really confused by it. Maybe Slug a little bit with the blade. Maybe Marnus, who just looks a bit off generally. Yeah. But like even just having 3-pronged spinners, each of whom have already succeeded in Asia, in India, I feel like they even take the confidence of doing well in India into this and just go, you know, we're not overawed by it. But then again, they could just be playing in Endeavour Hills.
Mate, I just thought like the pace the spinners bowled, like they actually looked like they were trying to get something out of the wicket. You know, you just don't think you can bowl at 80 k's an hour on that deck and just hope it does something. I think you have to churn it into the wicket. You have to put some, you got to spear it in, yeah. And like, I mean, the ball that Nathan Lyon got Angelo Matthews with was a fucking great drifting, dropping, spinning. That was a fucking great piece of bowling. So I don't know. I think our team's just better. I mean, I think Sri Lanka have had good games in the last little while, which shows like they do have good. I mean, the guy who's batting 5 now has scored 1,100 runs in 11 Test matches. Mendes, the keeper. So like, you know, there's something there. they do have some players, but they are just. I mean, this game is over. It's just a matter of how long this game goes for now. Australia need to take 17 wickets, but the two batters they got at the crease at the moment are good players, especially in Sri Lanka. So, you know, it'll still take a bit of work, but you just fancy if Kratz puts the pole vault spikes on and the spinners go to work, they shouldn't get 300.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. Just allow one actual thought about the game. It is a great toss to win. Deck's doing fucking three fifths of fuck all for a while, and then and it is like it has been baked in the sun a little bit. You can see when they zoom in on it, it's getting real dry now, and it is starting to spit a little bit more quickly, and hopefully that speeds up as well from my own national perspective. Yeah,
I mean, Steve Smith was dropped on 2, which was a sitter. Khawaja was dropped a couple of times, and he was caught off a thing they didn't review. So between that, they've added 400 runs. 400. Trevor's Head was out, and then added 50. So there's about 450 runs they've probably left out there. So I agree. It's and also you put someone in the field for 2 days, they're going to be tired. So harder to bat, but yeah. Should we thank our sponsor, Pezza?
We should. So, yeah, Smith Optics. I was got a couple of things here, and this comes in from a couple of observers, but we didn't call this out before, but just reiterating the correlation between. Thank you, Higgins. Yeah, look at that. Fuck me.
I got the ultralights on today. Ultralights.
Okay. Fuck. I mean, you actually look like Doc Brown in Back to the Future 2, which like
fuck. That's awesome.
That's fucking yeah. Correlation between not wearing Smith and retaining a spot on the side, like well known that Slug was in the Smith motive on the first morning of the Sydney Test, before reverting to the Pradas. But he was back in the momentums today, Slug. So
yes.
So again, Smith taking over, and it is going to be tough for Cam Green to get back into the side now. I would have thought, unless he decides to make that choice. And same goes for Inglis. Something for Inglis to think about as well. So
yes,
just wanted to call that out.
I was really disappointed to see a couple of the guys wearing BP sunnies with a 600ml Diet Coke and a Snickers. They hand those out. That's still a bit of a sticking point for me. A couple of good players, but I even saw the fielding coach Borovic was wearing. I think he was in the Verts today. I mean, I'm wearing the ultralights right now, and let me tell you, these are just magnificent on the face.
Boys have made their choice. You're talking about a critical mass of the Australian men's team following their skipper. I mean, what other endorsement do you need?
I've also got the Defies here, Pezza. I mean, I'm sunglass up to the eyeballs. I mean, these are
holy hell.
I like these as well.
That's fast.
Yeah.
That is fast.
Use the code FAST at smithopticsaustralia.com. 25% off. 25% off. Sorry for the value. There you go.
God.
Thanks to Smith Optics.
That genuine thing. Smith Optics is one of the great partners of TGC, by the way. An
Great shout.
incredible encourager of our work. Hashtag AskTGC. Anything else you want to add before then, Higgins? Anything about the game really important to mention at 11:50 p.m. AEDT about day 2 from Gaul? Anything very, very important that gets said?
Just the chocolate syrup stuff.
Yeah. No, I definitely won't think about that when I get off. I'll get off this call, that is. Okay, yeah, all right. Haydos's Rastafarian lover says...
That's one for the live show.
Was the Asian century measured in dog years? You know, like I think the main question of the Asian century is to what end? You know, it's actually 10 years since Australia won the Asian Cup in football. If you remember that wonderful night against Song Heung Ming's South Korea.
With that fraud Postecoglou.
Yeah, and Fraudacoglu. Yeah. It's funny, we really love Ange in Australia. There's a lot of fucking sweeping under the rug of the fact that the powers that be in Australian football fucked him off quick smart when the World Cup qualification got a little hairy for a bit. Anyway. Yeah. And some journos too who love him now. Anyway, the great physicist says Australia today, brackets men plus women plus A. Australia, right? Like Curtis Patterson hit 100 today as well for Australia, right?
Did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah. 8 for 642. I think it was on 90 odds, so I might have fucked that up. But 8 for 642 with the bat from 171.5 and 13 for 214 with the ball from 86.4 overs. Safety.
Mate, I had...
You know, it doesn't come around very often. That's all I'm saying.
No, I had the Sky both scores up today. I was watching mostly the blokes go around, which helps because I'm doing this show. But just the numbers and like who was winning at all, like it's so good. I mean, the women they've never let us down, especially in our time zones. But like against this hapless England side and now Sri Lanka, I mean, and we're getting some new toys and we're getting some same numbers, new toys, you know?
Toys,
I mean, fucking hell. And I'm getting like a Josh Inglis's hat makes him look like a train driver. It's not quite fitting to his head just yet. Mate, this is fucking good. This is so good.
Well, I mean, what more does a cricket fan of a country ask for than numbers and toys? If you can get 2, fuck. He can't read good says, if the gap between second and third in the WTC is this large, how many triple centuries can I expect in the Ashes later this year? Well, I think cool you Jets. It's a different thing. It's a different thing.
We're also going to lose the second test, no question. No question we're losing the second test.
Superb says, we have all pondered before the great question of how many centuries is one away from playing test cricket. I come to you today with a slight variation of the same thought. I would like to know how many kids I must save from treacherous shore breaks before getting my hands on a baggy green. Not to be confused with Rachel Green, the fictional character from the late 90s hit sitcom Friends. And being able to utter the words, how many fucking tests have you played? P.S. Please only swim between the red and yellow flags. Again, it's a day for Bondi to Coogee. John Lewis is looking more and more correct every day. So, I mean, that comment may become a red letter day in like a boon in Australian sports. Like he said something and a genie got out of the bottle. It was something like the opposition said the quiet part out loud. You know, like, okay, we admit you're all genetically superior. And we know that that's rubbish, but we're like, off we go. Off we go.
Now, it's gonna be tough when the English and Irish Lions thump us 3-0 in the rugby, but that's a different sport that doesn't exist here anymore. So that's fine.
I live in Melbourne.
Yeah.
How many cheetah bastard kangaroo says? How many would someone like a Rocky Flintoff score on this shit tip? Yeah, there's lots of Flintoff stuff knocking around.
Yeah.
Elon's buys signal says, "Is English the first Englishman that Aussies actually care about?"
Mate, I've just I do find it. I'm not sure if it goes the other way, but the amount of English fans you see online who are desperate to prove that Australia is shit, whilst also glorifying their own team, which that's just how sport fandom goes. Is I don't think it goes the other way. Like Steve Smith scores 10,000 runs. Hey, Joe Root exists. Australia scored nearly 700, or they scored 650, and it's like stat padding, boring Australia. But your team's actually shit. I don't know if it works the other way. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they made 700 against Pakistan in roughly the same period of their
500 in a day
series.
Yeah.
And then got shit tipped out of the series, and that could happen.
Yeah.
So
not when you play 2 test series though.
Bo Webster's dictionary says, "How did the gold ground stuff switch the pitch so quickly?"
Yeah.
Rusty's dad says, "Higgins' Golf Australia handicap number what is?"
Get myself to Gaul. Get myself over there. Brought the sticks.
Ange out. There's a question about Ange out. Okay, that's not really happening. When does a footy start? Is cameraman zooming into slug peak broadcasting, and is this what always happens on free-to-air? I didn't know that. I missed that. Did you see that?
Hadn't seen that. I did notice when the beginning of the second innings, when Stark was running in, I felt like I was having fucking an epileptic fit because it was like zooming into gully. So that sort of threw me off a bit. But by the way, when Stark was bowling to Karuna Ratner, like that wicket was coming every single ball. I know he's already got him 7 or 8 times or whatever it is, but also Stark was bowling quick. He was bowling 145s. I mean, he's obviously going to bowl short spells, but he just batted for a bit and looked like he just come out of a pool because he was sweating so that much. But I don't know.
It's always going to look quicker when you've watched buck 20 and blokes off 2 steps for 160 overs.
Yeah, how are you 2 steps?
He's going to look monster. How are you 2 steps? All right, look, finally, from Sydney 2 in the Pinkers. What's more important to TGC? The financial freedom that can be attained with more Australian collapses as witnessed on day 1 of Perth, or the eternal emotional safety of declaring at 1 million and having the opposing team 3 for shit before stumps. It's great. It's prisoner's dilemma stuff, really.
Yeah, it is the great conundrum. But as long as there's a certain percentage of the population in Australia which is still unhappy for some reason, and like it doesn't matter who they pick or what happens in the games, as long as someone is still unhappy and they're still upset by the people associated with the team, then there's always going to be something to talk about.
Yeah, I think that it's continually proven to me that the latter option is much more enjoyable. Like declaring at 1 million and having them 3 for spit. I'll figure out our finances. Whether we
I'll squirrel something away.
Yeah. Or squirrel something, I don't know. Or do something else, I don't know. So
yeah. I'll pick up some work at the bottle shop again. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Yeah. And I just can only keep saying, like, Australia losing and India doing well doth not equate to property. I just keep telling you. You think it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Anyway, if anyone wants to come be CEO.
But the Sri Lankan bunts, though, that's where the real money is.
Yeah,
all right.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us here on YouTube Live once again. We'll be back at the close of play on day 3. So you can join us right here, or you can just consume this whenever you want to, because it's late at night and you got a life to live and you got things to do and people to see and women to try and kiss if things work out really your way. Yeah, hey, It's all right in there in front of us. All right, I'll see you guys on the internet tomorrow. Cheers.